Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live training. I'm so excited to see you here with me. Thank you for being here with me live. There were quite some people who wanted to join live, but unfortunately couldn't make it because of various reasons. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to record the first part of this training for those who haven't been able to join us today. We're going to talk about the most important component when it comes to building a successful career. We're going to do an exercise together on it. And then I'm going to stop recording. And in the second part of the training, I'm going to open space for coaching. So if you'd like to be coached on the topic we're going to talk about today, you can raise your hand. I'm going to call you in. We're going to do that. So for those of you who maybe don't want to be coached, you will get a chance to see how coaching looks like. And then maybe if you're interested to learning more about that and how would working with me potentially also look like, we can always talk about it later on. All right, so let's start. So we all know that obviously in our work, when we are creating the career for ourselves, when we are thinking about the different jobs, paths to develop, create, we look into a few things, right? We look into our background, our past experiences, different jobs we've done so far, different industries we've been in. We look into our skill set, right? So what are the skills that we are good in, skills that we've developed, skills that are natural to us, skills that come easy, but also skills that we still want to develop and improve. We look into passion, what we are passionate about, what lights us up, what's something that we're like, ooh, about, right? We look into our interests. We look in all different sorts of aspects, okay? But one of the aspects that I often see is being forgotten about is potentially the aspect that is the most important. I called it component, right? The most important component to building your career. The component that if it's misaligned with you, if it's misaligned with your career, you are going to feel drained, you're going to feel unmotivated, you're going to feel like something is off. You know, I oftentimes hear my clients telling me, like, I feel like something is off in my career, but I can't really pinpoint what is that something. I cannot define it, right? Or I don't have this drive that I wake up in the morning and I'm excited about. Or what I often hear is also like, I have a good job, I'm working for a great company, but I just feel like something is missing. So we're going to talk about that today. And that thing is your core values. All right. So if your core values are not aligned with your career, you are going to feel like something is off. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through an exercise. I'm going to lead you through an exercise to seeing how you can nail down those values for you. Because what I also often hear is, how do I know what my values are? How do I come up with these values? How do I nail them down? And this is what we're going to do today together. All right. Now, what I just want to offer to you is an example of how it might look that your values aren't aligned with your job. So let's imagine this scenario. Let's imagine that your values are connection, right? You need to be connected with other people. That's very important to you. Let's imagine that another value of yours is, let's say, for example, transparency and honesty. Okay. And let's imagine that the third core value of yours is work-life balance or family, let's say. Okay. But then now let's imagine that your work or your job is, you work in a back office where you have very little customer direct, like how can I say, connection, right? So you are not in direct contact with your customers, you are behind the screen, so to say. So all your communication is mainly via emails, or you do some calls here and there, but it's very, very minimal. Let's imagine that you work for a company that doesn't provide as much transparency when it comes to their future goals and future plans, so you don't have really good overview. And let's imagine also that you are required to work long working hours on a regular basis. So do you see how misaligned the job is to your values? Now, it can be that your skills in terms of communication are absolutely excellent, right? It can be that you have high interest in working for that specific company, that you're interested in their products, that you like what they do, right? It can be also that you don't mind working long hours here and there. But if your core values are, again, connection, transparency, family, sooner or later, what's going to happen is that you're going to start feeling disconnected from the work you're doing. You're going to start feeling like, just something doesn't fit. And of course it doesn't, right? Because your values and your work are just so far apart. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I'm going to get back to them later on. But this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to just quickly. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you here. I'm going to show you what you will see here on the screen is the list of values. I hope you can see it. Can you see it? If somebody can tell me, yes? Yes. All right. So here you have a list of values. I mean, obviously, these are not all the values that exist. These are quite some values here. What I would like you to do as the first part of our exercise is to take a few minutes, let's say 3 minutes, to go through this list and to note down 10 values that you connect with, right? 10 values that stand out for you, 10 values that you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely important to me. This is one of the values I would 100% consider. So let's do that. I'm giving you 3 minutes. And I just want to say one thing here. Don't overthink it. All right. So this is not now for you to overthink and overanalyze, but just 10 that come, that like intuitively you're like, oh yeah, that's it. 2 more minutes. All right. Was that enough time? Yes? Yes. Okay. All right. So now the next part of the exercise is look into these 10 values that you have put aside, that you have noted down for yourself. And now think about, out of these 10, what 5 values or which 5 values stand out for me even more, right? So which, and I know this might be a bit difficult because you might be like, yeah, but also this and that and but let's try to narrow it down really to 5 main ones. Okay, let's take again 2 minutes to do this. All right. Done? Okay. All right. So this is somebody else, like, but what if I have more than 5 values? What if more than 5 things are important to me? That's okay, right? It's not about now if we have 5 or 6, we're just narrowing them down so that we don't have too many. For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to lead you through it now as well. But of course, we're going to have, or not of course, but most probably is that you're going to have more than 5 values that are important to you. But if we would really narrow down to the most important ones, right? We don't want to have 10 the most important ones, right? We want to narrow them down just so that we help ourselves when it comes to being more clear and more specific, and for using that as a filter for different career choices and standards we set for ourselves as well. Okay. All right. So now when you have your 5 values, this is what we're going to do. Now, we're going to do this in the second part of the training. We're going to coach on that as well. But I just want to lead you through the 2 more parts of this exercise for those who aren't with us today, for those who are going to look at the recording, right? So the third part of this exercise now is to take time to really define what these values mean to you. All right. So if you say, for example, that connection, right, is one of the values, one of the most important values for yourself, I really want you to ask yourself, like, what does that really mean to you? Right? Connection with what? Or connection with whom? Or think about how would that look like to you if you were to think of a specific example of connecting yourself with something or someone. How would it look like, right? You want to be really, really specific about that, okay? Or if you think about honesty again, what does that mean again for you? How would it look like for you as well? All right, you want to get really, really specific, because again, more specific you are, more clarity you're going to have, right? More vague we are, more confused we are going to be. And when we're confused, we cannot be taking effective action, or we don't take action at all. Okay. And remember, all of these values are going to be a great, great filter for you when thinking about different career paths, when thinking about, is this really for me? When thinking about something is off, okay, so let me refer to my values and see how these specific values fit into my career path at the moment, okay? Which leads me to the 4th part of this exercise, which is, given now that you've defined these 5 values, given that you now have a clear idea of what those exactly mean to you, how are they aligned with where you currently are in your career? Or how are they aligned with your job, with your company, with your day-to-day tasks, with your overall work environment? And are they aligned? All right. All right. So we're going to stop here with recording. I'm going to open now for coaching. For those of you, again, who haven't been with us live today, feel free to comment below or message me. We can take this discussion further. And for those of you who are here, I'm excited. Let's go.